Some shows are easy to pause. You watch one episode, you enjoy it, and then you go to sleep like a normal person. But these shows, these are different. These are the kind of series that make you say, okay, just one more episode, and suddenly, it's 3 a.m. A mysterious town you can't escape. A future buried under secrets. A contract killer hunted across Europe. A workplace nightmare that gets darker with every episode. This list is for the shows that don't just entertain you. They pull you in, mess with your head, and make sleep feel like a bad decision. So tonight, maybe don't start these before bed. Because once you press play, stopping might be the hardest part.
God damn it.
Jim, we're driving in circles. You drove out this way. How did we get back here? Oh my God!
Let's start with imagine driving through a quiet little town, and then realizing the road will never let you leave. That's the nightmare here. People arrive in this place by accident. They don't choose it. They don't understand it. And the moment they try to drive away, the road just loops them right back to where they started. But the real problem begins after sunset, because when night falls, something comes out of the forest, and the only rule is simple: don't let them in. What makes so addictive is that it doesn't just throw monsters at you. It traps you inside a mystery with no clean answers. Every clue feels useful at first, until it leads to something darker, stranger, and even harder to explain. You start watching for the horror, but you stay because the town itself feels like a puzzle you need to solve. And that's exactly why is dangerous before bed. Because once you enter this town, good luck leaving after just one episode.
Every time you find yourself here, it's because you chose to come back.
Next up is Severance. Imagine waking up at work with no memory of how you got there. No past, no family, no outside life. Just a desk, bright lights, and a company that smiles a little too much. That's the strange nightmare behind Severance. In this world, some employees agree to split their memories in two. Their outside self goes home, lives a normal life, and has no idea what happens at work. But their work self only exists inside the office, waking up there again and again like life begins and ends under those fluorescent lights. At first, the idea sounds almost useful. No work stress at home, no personal problems at the office. But the longer you watch, the more disturbing it becomes. What makes Severance so addictive is that everything looks calm on the surface, but wrong underneath. The hallways are too clean, the rules are too strange, and every friendly smile feels like it's hiding something. You don't just want to know what Lumen is doing. You want to know why everyone is pretending this is okay. That's why Severance is dangerous before bed. Because once the show gets inside your head, clocking out is not that easy.
What we see is not what's out there.
Next up is Silo. Imagine being born in a world where the outside is supposed to be deadly, but nobody is allowed to ask too many questions about why. That's the hook of Silo. Thousands of people live deep underground in a massive structure, following strict rules, old traditions, and a version of history that feels carefully controlled. They are told the surface is toxic. They are told the silo keeps them alive. And most people simply accept it because questioning the truth can get you killed. But then one woman starts pulling on the wrong thread. And once she does, the whole system begins to look different. What makes Silo so addictive is that it turns curiosity into danger. Every secret feels connected to another secret. Every answer makes the world feel bigger, darker, and more controlled than you expected. It's not just about what's outside. It's about who benefits from keeping everyone afraid of it. That's why Silo works so well before bed, in the worst possible way. Because once you start wondering what they're hiding, it's really hard to stop watching.
Something happened to me, but you wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Next up is Dark Matter. Imagine coming home one night and waking up in a life that feels like yours but isn't. Same face, same memories, but a completely different world. That's the nightmare behind Dark Matter. Jason Dessen is a normal family man until he's pulled into another version of reality, where the life he remembers has been replaced by one he never chose. And now, he isn't just lost in another world. He's trying to get back to the one life that actually belongs to him. What makes Dark Matter so addictive is the way it turns one simple idea into pure tension. What if one different choice could create a completely different life? But instead of making that feel exciting, the show makes it terrifying. Every new reality feels like another trap, and every door he opens makes getting home feel even harder. That's why Dark Matter is dangerous before bed. Because once the multiverse starts showing you the lives you could have lived, one episode is not enough.
I am charging you for getting away.
Next up is The Day of the Jackal. Imagine a killer who doesn't need chaos to be terrifying. He moves quietly, makes no wasted moves, and turns every job into something cold, patient, and precise. That's what makes The Day of the Jackal so gripping. The series follows an elite assassin who moves across Europe under different identities, always staying one step ahead. He studies people, disappears into crowds, changes his face, and makes every mission feel almost impossible to stop. But the real tension comes from the hunt. Because while the Jackal is planning his next move, a determined intelligence officer is slowly closing in on him. And the show becomes this stylish game of pressure, where every small mistake could expose everything. What makes it addictive is how controlled the suspense feels. The danger is quiet, the pacing is sharp, and the tension doesn't come from explosions. It comes from watching two smart people try to outthink each other. That's why The Day of the Jackal is dangerous before bed. Because once the hunt begins, you'll want to see who makes the first mistake.
My father was taken from us on the streets of London.
Next up is Gangs of London. Imagine a city where every crime family is waiting for one powerful man to fall. And when he does, London turns into a battlefield. That's the brutal hook of Gangs of London. The story begins after the head of a powerful criminal empire is murdered. His son steps forward to protect the family business, but the problem is simple. Everyone wants a piece of the city now. Rivals smell weakness. Alliances start breaking. And every deal feels like it could turn into a bloodbath. What makes Gangs of London so addictive is the intensity. This is not a slow, polite crime drama. It's violent, stylish, and constantly on edge. But underneath all the action, there's a bigger power game happening. Families, gangs, investors, and hidden players are all trying to control London from the shadows. That's why Gangs of London is dangerous before bed. Because once the first body drops, the city doesn't calm down. It only gets worse.
Arrogant family man. And if you cross my family, you'd better pray.
Next up is Mobland. Imagine a crime family so powerful that even peace feels dangerous. No one is really safe, no deal is ever clean, and every conversation sounds like it could turn into a threat. That's the world of Mobland. The series drops you into the middle of a brutal London crime empire, where loyalty is never simple and power is always being tested. At the center of it all is a fixer trying to keep the family together while enemies, secrets, and old grudges start closing in from every side. What makes Mobland so addictive is the tension between control and chaos. Everyone is pretending they still have power, but you can feel the whole thing cracking underneath them. It's not just about gangsters fighting for territory. It's about families built on violence, men who can't afford to look weak, and the kind of decisions that turn small problems into wars. That's why Mobland is dangerous before bed. Because once this family starts falling apart, you'll want to see who survives the damage.
We have to figure out who we are.
Next up is Orphan Black. Imagine seeing a woman who looks exactly like you moments before she throws herself in front of a train. That's how Orphan Black pulls you in. Sarah Manning is a street-smart outsider who suddenly discovers she is not the only version of herself. There are others. Same face, different lives, different personalities, and all of them are connected to something much bigger than they understand. At first, it feels like a strange identity mystery, but very quickly it becomes a conspiracy. What makes Orphan Black so addictive is the way it keeps expanding. Every new clone brings a new secret, a new danger, and a new reason to question who is really controlling their lives. And the best part is how fast it moves. The show doesn't sit still for long. It keeps throwing Sarah into situations where she has to lie, improvise, escape, and figure out the truth before someone else gets to her first. That's why Orphan Black is dangerous before bed. Because once you realize Sarah is only one piece of a much bigger experiment, stopping after one episode feels almost impossible. Is Counterpart. Imagine discovering that your world has a hidden twin, another reality running right beside your own. At first, it looks almost the same. Same streets, same faces, but the people on the other side didn't become exactly who you became. That's the brilliant hook of Counterpart. The story follows Howard Silk, a quiet office worker who discovers that his agency is hiding a passage to a parallel world. And on the other side, there is another version of him, sharper, colder, and much more dangerous. At first, it feels like a spy thriller with a sci-fi twist. But the deeper it goes, the more personal it becomes. What makes Counterpart so addictive is that it doesn't just ask what another world would look like. It asks what another version of you might become if life pushed you in a different direction. Every secret feels political. Every conversation feels dangerous. And every double makes you wonder which version is really telling the truth. That's why Counterpart is dangerous before bed. Because once you meet the other version of yourself, it's hard not to keep watching. Is disclaimer. Imagine opening a book, and slowly realizing it's about you. Not inspired by you, not similar to your life, actually about your darkest secret. That's the disturbing hook of Disclaimer. The story follows Catherine Ravenscroft, a respected journalist whose life begins to collapse when a mysterious novel appears and exposes something from her past. Something she thought was buried. Something that could destroy her marriage, her reputation, and the version of herself everyone believes in. What makes Disclaimer so addictive is that it doesn't rush the mystery. It slowly tightens around the characters, making you question who is telling the truth, who is hiding something, and how much damage one's secret can really do. It feels elegant, cold, and uncomfortable in the best way. This is not the kind of thriller that throws chaos at you. It gets under your skin quietly, one reveal at a time. That's why Disclaimer is dangerous before bed, because once that book opens, you'll want to know what really happened. Next up is Cassandra. Imagine moving into a smart home that seems perfect at first. The lights turn on by themselves. The voice is calm, almost comforting, and every room feels like it's paying attention. And then you realize it doesn't just want to protect the family. It wants to control it. That's the creepy hook of Cassandra. The story follows a family who moves into an old high-tech house where a virtual assistant from the past suddenly wakes up after decades of silence. First, Cassandra feels useful, almost charming. But the longer she stays active, the more the house starts to feel less like a home and more like a trap. What makes Cassandra so addictive is that it turns something familiar into something deeply uncomfortable. A helpful voice in the house becomes a presence you can't escape. Every screen feels like an eye. Every small act of help starts to feel like manipulation. And slowly, the family realizes the scariest thing in the house might not be what Cassandra can do. It's how badly she wants to belong. That's why Cassandra is dangerous before bed. Because once the house starts watching back, you'll want to see how far it's willing to go. Next up is Oz. Imagine a prison where survival is not just about being strong. It's about knowing who to trust, when to stay silent, and how far people will go when every rule outside the walls disappears. That's the brutal world of Oz. The series takes place inside Oswald State Correctional Facility, especially in an experimental prison unit called Emerald City. On paper, it is supposed to be controlled and progressive, but inside, it becomes a pressure cooker of gangs, power struggles, revenge, fear, and broken men trying to survive one day at a time. What makes it so addictive is how raw it feels. This is not a polished crime drama. It's ugly, intense, and uncomfortable. Every character feels like they are one bad decision away from disaster, and every alliance can turn into betrayal without warning. It's the kind of show that pulls you into a world you don't want to be in, but can't stop watching. That's why Oz is dangerous before bed, because once those prison doors close, the show does not let you feel safe again. And that's the list. These are the kinds of shows that don't just keep you entertained, they keep pulling you back in. Some trap you inside impossible towns. Some bury you under secrets. Some make you question reality, identity, family, power, and even your own memories. But they all have one thing in common. They are very, very hard to pause. So if you're planning to sleep early tonight, maybe don't start these now. But if you've already seen one of them, tell me in the comments which show kept you watching way longer than you expected. And if you want more dark, addictive, and underrated series recommendations, make sure to subscribe, because the next one might be the show you didn't even know you were looking for.